The night fell over the city like a silent, velvet blanket. I sat alone in our spacious but empty living room, the silence so profound that the sound of my own breathing felt loud. A suffocating loneliness crept into the air. Earlier, just before quitting time, Chloe Vance had walked over to my desk, her steps heavy. She wore light makeup, but it couldn't hide the exhaustion and frustration in her eyes. She let out a soft sigh. "Honey," she said, her voice gentle, "the company's having a welcome mixer tonight. Leo Carter just got back from overseas, and my mom insisted I hire him. I couldn't say no to her. I'm probably going to be late." She paused, a flicker of worry crossing her face. Mom still hung up on him, saving my life all those years ago. Honestly, it's a headache. We haven't spoken in years, and our lives are on completely different tracks now. It's just awkward. Her words felt like a tiny needle prick to my heart, a dull, familiar ache. In high school, Leo and I had been rivals. We both competed for Chloe's affection during those hazy, formative years, our feelings for her budding and growing wild in the fertile ground of our youth. Now, with Leo back in the country and re-entering Chloe's life in this way, a sour mix of jealousy and vigilance began to brew inside me. Still, I forced a relaxed smile, nodding as I reached out to gently tuck a stray strand of hair behind her ear. "Chloe, just be safe out there," I murmured. "If you get tired, come home early. Don't push yourself." As the director of engineering, I was supposed to be at that mixer too, but I bailed, claiming I wasn't feeling well. I knew it was petty, but when it comes to love, who can truly be magnanimous and unbothered? I couldn't stand the guy. The minutes ticked by, each one a lifetime. I stared at the clock on the wall, its hands seemingly shackled, dragging themselves from one number to the next. It was almost 11, and Chloe still wasn't home. I shifted restlessly on the couch, my hands clenching and unclenching. I picked up my phone, my thumb hovering over her contact, wanting to call, but I stopped myself. "Trust her," I told myself. "It's just a work event. It's probably just running late." Just as my anxiety peaked, my phone buzzed with an incoming text. A knot of dread formed in my stomach. I frowned, slowly picking it up to see a message from an unknown number. My fingers trembled slightly as I opened it. Inside was a photo, accompanied by a few lines of taunting text. In the picture, Chloe and Leo were sitting side by side. Leo's arm was draped over her shoulder, a smug grin plastered on his face. The angle and lighting were poor, making it hard to see Chloe's expression clearly. The words below were a mockery. "Daniel, I've been gone for years, and you still haven't managed to win her heart. Look how happy she is with me. You're a useless placeholder who doesn't deserve her. You haven't exactly given her a great life, have you? But me? The moment I'm back, she's all too happy to spend her time with me. You think a wedding ring can tie her down? Dream on. The history we have is something you could never compete with. You were just the consolation prize. Do yourself a favor and walk away before you embarrass yourself further. Maybe she already regrets marrying you. Look at the way she looks at me. Pure joy. I bet she's never looked at you like that. If she really loved you, why would she hide your marriage? When you truly love someone, don't you want to shout it from the rooftops? But she won't even admit you're married. She's clearly holding back. Stop fooling yourself." Staring at the photo and the piercing words, I shrugged, murmuring to the empty room. Anything that could be so easily taken was never truly yours to begin with. My voice echoed in the silence. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to calm down. I trusted my wife. I trusted that the years we'd built together couldn't be shaken so easily by his return. With that thought, I leaned back on the couch, my gaze softening as I drifted into memory. My mind wandered back to the sun-drenched days of high school. The sun always seemed to pour generously over our campus, bathing the athletic fields in a soft light that made our young faces glow. Back then, Chloe, Leo, and I were all students at the same school. I've been watching Chloe for a while. Her long, dark hair swayed like silk when she walked. When she smiled, her eyes would curve into warm, captivating crescents that could light up a room. I'd often watch her from a distance, seeing her laser-focused in class, her intensity sparking my admiration. Seeing her laugh with friends, her smile as brilliant as a spring blossom, leaving me utterly captivated. Over time, that quiet crush took root in my heart and grew stronger each day. But back then, Chloe's heart belonged to Leo. It all stemmed from an accident when they were kids, she'd once told me. She had been playing near a river, slipped, and fallen in. Just as she was about to go under, Leo had dived in and pulled her to safety. From that day forward, Chloe was smitten. That feeling, like a stubborn vine, grew and twisted through the years, lasting all the way into high school. I still remember one day, during a break between classes, the hallway buzzing with students. Chloe and Leo stood together, talking and laughing. Her face was radiant with happiness, her eyes filled with an unmistakable adoration for him, as if he were her entire world. I stood off to the side, watching them, a bitter taste rising in my throat, like biting into an unripe fruit. All I could do was bury my feelings and wish them well from afar. After graduation, however, Leo made a decision that shattered Chloe's world. He was moving abroad for college. When Chloe heard the news, she was devastated. She begged him to stay, her voice thick with desperation. "Leo, please don't go. Please, we've always been together. I don't want you to leave. We can build our future right here, together." Her voice trembled, and she clutched his sleeve as if it were a lifeline. Her eyes, brimming with tears, were a portrait of pain. Leo sighed, a flicker of conflict in his eyes that was quickly replaced by resolve. He gently pried her fingers from his shirt. "Chloe, I know you don't want me to go, but I have to see what's out there. The opportunities are bigger. I can't let this chance slip away for a high school romance. I hope you can understand. But what about us? Are you really just going to throw away everything we have?" The tears finally broke free, streaming down her face as her body trembled. Leo looked away. "Chloe, feelings are important, but they aren't everything. I need you to take care of yourself. I have to go." With that, he turned and walked away, his footsteps echoing down the empty hall. He left Chloe standing there, utterly broken, as if her soul had been ripped out, tears soaking the ground at her feet. Seeing her so destroyed filled me with a confusing mix of sympathy for her pain and anger at his decision. From that day on, Chloe fell into a deep depression. She shut herself in her room, curtains drawn. She stopped caring about her hair or her appearance. Her once glossy hair became a tangled mess, and her face grew pale and gaunt. Her eyes were empty, lost. I couldn't stand to see her torturing herself. I started bringing her breakfast every morning, hoping to offer a small bit of warmth. I'd sit with her in the library, a quiet companion, while she tried to study. When she got sick, I took care of her. At first, Chloe was cold, intentionally keeping her distance and resisting my attempts to help. "Daniel, you don't have to be so nice to me," she'd say, her voice barely a whisper, her eyes fixed on the floor. I'm not ready to think about anyone right now." I would just smile. "It's okay, Chloe. I just want to be here for you. No pressure. I'll always be here." Days turned into weeks, and my persistence slowly began to wear down her defenses. She started to change. She no longer pushed me away and would sometimes start conversations. The space between us gradually began to shrink. One afternoon, we were walking across campus. The air was soft, and the leaves rustled in the gentle breeze. Chloe suddenly stopped and turned to me, her eyes full of a gratitude that touched me deeply. "Daniel," she said, "thank you for everything you've done. I think I'm starting to fall for you." Hearing those words, my heart exploded like a firework. I looked at her, my voice earnest and steady. "Chloe, I've liked you for a very long time. I will always be good to you. I will never let you get hurt again." After that, we were together. Our college years flew by, and soon it was graduation. We decided to start our own business. The early days were brutal. We were constantly short on funds, a sword hanging over our heads. Technical hurdles felt like impassable mountains, and the fierce market competition made every step a struggle. But we never thought about giving up. We hustled for investors, worked day and night to solve technical problems, and fought to build our company's reputation. Our hard work paid off, and our tech company started to find its footing. However, during our initial funding rounds, some of our investors expressed concern about management's personal relationships, worried that nepotism could compromise objective decision-making and hurt the company. To avoid those potential conflicts and secure the funding we needed for stable growth, we made a difficult choice. When we got married, we decided to keep it a secret, presenting ourselves at work as nothing more than colleagues. Honey, are you sure this won't affect us? Chloe had asked, her eyes clouded with worry. I held her close. It won't, I promised. This is just for the company. Once things are stable, we can tell everyone. No matter what, my heart is always with you. She nodded, a relieved smile gracing her lips. Okay, I trust you. As long as we're together, we can get through anything. As the company grew, our relationship deepened, forged stronger by the challenges we faced. We had a small, private wedding. It wasn't public, but our hearts were full. We knew we had each other, and that was the only thing that mattered. The clock on the wall crept towards midnight. The silence was finally broken by the familiar sound of a key in the lock. I snapped out of my reverie and hurried to the door. Chloe walked in, her exhaustion palpable under the living room lights. Her eyes were a mixture of frustration and weariness. I quickly took her bag from her. You must be exhausted, I said, my voice full of concern. Go sit down and rest. She sank onto the sofa with a long sigh. God, today was so frustrating, she vented. Mom is just so stubborn. There are a million ways to repay a favor. So why did she have to force Leo into the company? Now everyone at work is whispering about how he's friends with the boss. How am I supposed to maintain my authority and manage people now? I sat down next to her, gently rubbing her shoulder. I get it. Mom's probably just fixated on the fact that he saved you, and she wants to repay him. But she didn't think it through. A company has rules. Forcing a hire like that was a bad move. Chloe frowned. I know. I tried to explain that to her, but she wouldn't listen. She just told me I was being ungrateful. I'm at my wit's end. Seeing her so troubled, a mischievous thought struck me. I grinned. So, tell me, spending a whole day at the office with your ex, did it stir up any old feelings? Her worried expression vanished, replaced by a flash of indignation. She shot me a glare. Daniel Hayes, if you keep talking nonsense like that, I'm going to get seriously angry. What ex? In my book, a good ex is one who acts like they've vanished off the face of the earth. What's past is past. From now on, he and I are nothing more than colleagues. Her fierce loyalty sent a wave of warmth through me. I was only teasing, but her definitive answer filled me with joy. I took her hand. Of course I trust you, Chloe. I was just trying to lighten the mood. It just kills me to see you so stressed out because of him. Her expression softened, and she leaned her head on my shoulder. I know you're worried, but you don't have to be, she said softly. It's only you for me. I figured that out back in college when you were pursuing me. You're the one I want to spend my life with. I have you, our home, and the business we built together. I'm perfectly content. I don't need anything else. Her sincere words moved me deeply. I pulled her into a gentle embrace. Don't worry, I whispered. Everything will be okay. That night, we held each other close. We knew there were still challenges ahead, but I was certain that as long as we had each other's trust, there was nothing we couldn't overcome. A few days later, I arrived at the office early as usual, ready to push forward on the project I was managing. I headed to the break room for a cup of coffee, but before I could step inside, I heard the hushed whispers of my colleagues. Hey, have you guys noticed how attentive Leo has been to Ms. Vance lately? He's practically her shadow, organizing files, bringing her coffee. One coworker gossiped. Totally, but they were childhood sweethearts, right? I heard he saved her from drowning when they were kids. Another chimed in, a hint of envy in her voice. Seriously? No wonder Ms. Vance, who's usually so serious with everyone, treats him differently. So that's the story. That's not all. I heard from Leo himself that back in high school, she was always bringing him breakfast. Anyone could see she was head over heels for him. Hearing this, I felt a familiar sourness in my stomach, and my brow furrowed. But my trust in Chloe was absolute. I felt her love for me in every part of our life together. It was just Leo, showing up and immediately playing these stupid mind games. It was infuriating. I pushed down my frustration, got my coffee, and headed to my office. As I passed Chloe's office, I saw the door was ajar. Leo was standing arrow straight in front of her desk. Chloe, here's the market research report I put together for today. I've double-checked all the data, so it should be solid. Leo's voice drifted out, his familiar use of her first name and his fawning tone grating on my nerves. Chloe's reply was cool and distant. Just leave it there. I'll look at it later. And in the future, just follow standard company procedure for reporting. You don't need to deliver things personally. We're all busy. Chloe, why are you being so formal? We go way back. You don't have to be like this with me. Remember when? Leo. Chloe cut him off, her voice as sharp and cold as ice, carrying an authority that was impossible to ignore. Let me repeat myself. This is a place of business. I am your superior. Watch yourself. The past is the past. I expect you to act like a professional and drop it. Hearing her shut him down so decisively, the knot in my chest loosened a bit. I was about to walk away when I heard Leo's voice again, refusing to give up. Okay, Chloe. My mistake. You don't have to be so serious. I was just reminiscing. Hey, do you remember that track meet in high school? It was blazing hot, and you pushed through the crowd just to bring me a bottle of water while I was competing. I can still see it like it was yesterday. That's enough, Leo. Chloe snapped, her voice now edged with anger. I don't want to hear any more of this ancient history. Get out. I have work to do. I walked back to my office and sat down, my eyes staring blankly at the project data on my screen. My mind was still replaying their conversation, my dislike for Leo growing with every second. He was clearly trying to create the false impression that he and Chloe had some unfinished romance. Just then, an employee tiptoed into my office, a sycophantic smile on his face. Mr. Hayes, he began conspiratorially. You've seen how close Mr. Carter is with Ms. Vance. He's going to have a lot of sway around here. Don't you think we should try to get on his good side? Might make things easier for us down the road. I shot him a cold glare. In this company, you get ahead based on your talent and your results, not by sucking up to people, I said curtly. Do your job and stop wasting time on office politics. The employee's face turned red. He stammered an apology. Yes, of course, you're right, Mr. Hayes. I'll get back to work, and quickly scurried out of my office. I leaned back in my chair, my gaze still fixed on the screen. I knew I had to watch Leo's every move. I couldn't let his scheming succeed, and I wouldn't let him disrupt the company we had built. I didn't have to wait long. One morning, I came into the office, as usual, ready to push forward on the project I was managing. But when I opened the file, my blood ran cold. The project data was a complete mess, utterly corrupted. This would set us back by weeks. My heart hammered in my chest, and a cold sweat broke out on my forehead. I distinctly remembered checking everything the night before. It had been perfect. How could this have happened? Just then, Leo walked into my office. Seeing that we were alone, he dropped the facade, a provocative smirk spreading across his face. Well, Director Hayes, what's wrong? You look a little stressed. Big project go boom. I fought to control my rage, glaring at him. Did you do this, Leo? He crossed his arms, laughing dismissively. Careful, Daniel. You can't just throw around accusations like that. I'm just a junior assistant. How could I possibly have access to critical project data? He took a step closer, his eyes glinting with malice. Where's your proof? Without it, you're just spewing hot air. I'd start thinking about how you're going to explain this to everyone. You're the one who's going to take the fall for these delays. He turned and sauntered out, looking pleased with himself. Soon, it was time for the company meeting. The atmosphere in the conference room was tense. Leo sat off to the side, head slightly bowed, feigning humility. But from the corner of my eye, I caught a flicker of triumph in his gaze. When it was my turn to report on the project progress, I was about to explain the data corruption issue when Leo shot to his feet. He looked like he was trembling, his face a mask of guilt and fear. Everyone, he began, his voice cracking. I am so sorry. I feel partly responsible for the problems with this project. He sounded on the verge of tears. It's my fault. I failed to remind Mr. Hayes to triple-check the key data and parameters. He looked up, his eyes sweeping across the room, projecting an image of pure innocence. Mr. Hayes is always so busy, managing so many important things. I should have been more supportive, but I failed, and now some of the critical data is wrong, delaying the project. He paused, glancing at me before lowering his eyes again. I know it's too late for excuses, but I feel terrible. I've always admired Mr. Hayes' work ethic. He's usually so meticulous with data. He must have been overworked and exhausted to let something like this slip. The room was silent. All eyes darted between me and Leo. As I opened my mouth to defend myself, Leo spoke again, his voice thick with fake emotion. I know how critical this project is. I'm willing to accept any punishment. I just hope this doesn't cause anyone to misunderstand Mr. Hayes. He's given so much to this company, and I'm the one who didn't do my part. Mr. Hayes, do you have an explanation? Chloe finally asked. Her tone was flat, unreadable. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to remain calm. Ms. Vance, the data was correct when I checked it last night. Someone deliberately tampered with it. I am investigating to find the person responsible. Everyone here knows my commitment to my work. I would never make a mistake of this magnitude. Leo frowned, a flash of victory in his eyes hidden behind a facade of concern. Daniel, without proof, we can't just accuse our colleagues. I'm sure everyone here wants what's best for the company. I can't imagine anyone would intentionally sabotage a project. And since you've been the one in charge of it, it would be difficult for anyone else to even access it. Are you sure you didn't just overlook something? Another colleague chimed in. He has a point, Daniel. You've been leading this from the start. It's hard to imagine anyone else being involved. Their words hit me like a physical blow. I was furious and frustrated, but I had no concrete evidence to prove my innocence. Around the room, I could see suspicion creeping into the faces of my colleagues. I was trapped, and I knew the only way out was to fix the damage and correct the data as fast as humanly possible. After the data tampering debacle, I threw myself into fixing the corrupted files, working against the clock to get the project back on schedule. The office became my world, the silence broken only by the frantic tapping of my keyboard. I stared at the screen until my eyes burned, meticulously comparing lines of code and cross-referencing parameters, hunting for every last error. For days, I barely ate or slept, surviving on cold takeout and catnaps at my desk. After a grueling marathon of work, I finally managed to restore the project timeline. I let out a huge sigh of relief, thinking the storm had passed. I never imagined a far more sinister plot was already in motion. One evening, exhausted after a long day, I stopped by my usual coffee shop. The warm lighting and rich aroma of coffee began to soothe my frayed nerves. I ordered a latte and found a quiet corner to decompress. I was scrolling through my phone when I heard a sudden gasp. Oh my God, a splash of hot liquid soaked my shirt. I looked up, startled, to see a stylishly dressed woman standing over me, an overturned coffee cup in her hand and a panicked look on her face. I'm so sorry. I was so clumsy, she said, her voice laced with apology, though her eyes held a flicker of something else. Unease. I frowned but tried to be polite. It's fine. I'll just go clean up. She frantically pulled a wad of napkins from her purse and tried to dab at my shirt, her movements jerky and anxious. I instinctively leaned back. It's okay, I've got it. She gave an awkward laugh and pulled her hand back. But just then, she seemed to trip on something and lost her balance, stumbling directly towards me. I automatically reached out to steady her. For a split second, her face was inches from mine. I quickly helped her regain her balance and let go. Are you okay? Her face was flushed. I'm so sorry, so sorry. I'm a total mess today. I waved it off, not wanting to drag it out. I went to the restroom to clean the coffee stain, dismissed the whole thing as a freak accident, and left. A few days later, I was at the gym for my weekend workout. I was on the treadmill, focused on my pace, when a woman with an athletic build walked up and took the machine next to mine. Suddenly, she slipped, her body lurching sideways into me. Again, I reacted instinctively, grabbing her arm to keep her from falling. She leaned heavily against me for a moment before righting herself. Wow, thanks, handsome, she said with a breathy voice. You saved me from a nasty fall. I just smiled. No problem. Be careful. I turned my attention back to my run. At the time, I thought nothing of it, just another clumsy encounter. I had no idea I was walking into a trap. The next week at work, the atmosphere felt off. While I walked down the hall, conversations would die down, replaced by whispers and furtive glances. I thought it was strange, but I brushed it off as lingering gossip from the project mishap. That morning, while I was at my desk, I got a message from Chloe asking me to come to her office. A knot of anxiety tightened in my stomach. I had a bad feeling about this. When I walked into her office, Leo was already there, sitting on the couch with a look of feigned concern on his face. Daniel, you're here, Chloe said from behind her desk. Her expression was grim, her face an unreadable mask. Leo stood up, acting as if this was the last thing he wanted to do. Daniel, I really didn't want to bring this up, he began, but for Chloe's sake and for the company's reputation, I felt I had to. I frowned, staring at him coldly without a word. Leo sighed dramatically. I found this out by chance, but it appears you've been involved with several different women outside of work. I know it's your personal life, but Chloe has poured her heart and soul into this company. I couldn't stand by and watch her be deceived. I remained silent, my gaze fixed on him, my contempt growing. Leo put on an innocent face and pulled several photos from a folder. Daniel, don't get upset. Someone took this picture of you at the coffee shop, getting a little too close with a woman. And these are from a gym. It looks like you were having an intimate moment with someone else. I finally tore my eyes away from Leo and looked directly at Chloe. My voice was steady, calm. Chloe, are you going to believe a few pictures? Or are you going to believe me? Chloe's face was like stone, her eyes cold. She said nothing, just stared back at me. Leo jumped in, adding more fuel to the fire. Daniel, I'm sure you have your reasons, but the evidence is right here. Having these accidents with different women in different places. It's hard not to draw conclusions. I ignored him, my eyes still locked on Chloe, waiting for her answer. I was disappointed by her silence, but I kept my composure. She knew me better than this. She had to know these pictures were a lie. But her silence was deafening, and the tension in the room became unbearable. Fine, I said calmly. If you won't answer, I'll leave. But I want you to know things are not what they seem. I turned and walked out of her office. After work, I went home, my body feeling as heavy as lead. Leo's vicious setup, the sideways glances from my colleagues, it all felt like a suffocating weight. I collapsed onto the sofa, my head in my hands. I don't know how long I sat there before the door opened and Chloe walked in. She closed the door, changed her shoes, and came to sit beside me. I looked up, searching her eyes for an answer, but all I saw was a deep, profound exhaustion. After a long moment, she finally broke the silence. The reason I didn't say anything in the office today wasn't because I believed those photos, she said quietly. The moment I saw them, I was furious. But not because I thought you cheated. I was angry that you were so careless. The data incident just happened, and you walked right into another one of his traps. I was taken aback. A wave of conflicting emotions washed over me. Gratitude for her trust, which felt like a ray of light in the darkness, and deep regret for my own carelessness. Chloe, I'm sorry, I said, my voice heavy. I wasn't thinking. These past few days, the rumors, the accusations. It's been hell. Every look I get at the office feels like a needle. I've been holding on because I knew as long as you still believed in me, I could get through it. She took my hand, her touch warm and reassuring. Her gaze was soft, but with a hint of reprimand. We've been through so much together. I know who you are. A couple of pictures aren't going to make me doubt you. But you need to be more careful. If it had been anyone else, they might have been fooled by this. She sighed, a sound full of weariness. Let this be a painful lesson. We both need to be on high alert from now on. When I first saw those pictures, my heart dropped. That flash of anger and disappointment was real. But once I calmed down, my head told me not to convict you based on a few photos. Our relationship is stronger than that. I looked at her, my heart swelling with love. Having you, someone who understands and trusts me, is the greatest gift of my life. I swear, I'll be more careful. I won't give those bastards another opening. Chloe nodded seriously. I will too. Anyone who would stoop to this won't stop here. We both have to be cautious. Watch what we say, watch what we do. Don't give them any ammunition. I squeezed her hand. As long as we trust each other, his games won't work. She leaned her head on my shoulder. Exactly. Trust is our strongest defense. From now on, no matter what happens, we talk to each other first. No room for misunderstandings. As long as we're a team, we can handle anything. I nodded, feeling some of the anxiety lift. You're right. I'll refocus on my work. It's just, your mom. This is only going to make her hate me more. Chloe sighed again. I know. I'll talk to her. She can be incredibly stubborn, but I'm hoping once she cools off, she'll think things through. We talked for a while longer, try to return to some semblance of normalcy. The road ahead still seemed treacherous, but with each other, we felt ready to face whatever came next. The storm, however, broke the very next day. That evening, I was in the living room reviewing some documents when the doorbell rang, sharp and insistent. A sense of dread washed over me. I opened the door to find my mother-in-law standing there, her face contorted with rage. Her eyes, filled with disgust, were like daggers aimed at my heart. Before I could speak, she shoved me aside and stormed into the house. "You shameless piece of trash! You still have the nerve to be in this house?" she shrieked, her voice shrill enough to shatter glass. "My daughter is a saint for putting up with you. How dare you cheat on her?" I was stunned, my mind reeling. I fought to keep my voice even. "Mom, you've been listening to rumors." She laughed, a cold, scornful sound. "Don't you dare lie to me. I know all about your dirty little secrets. What does Leo not have that you do? He's educated, he has a future, and you have nothing. You're just riding her coattails, and you have the gall to play the victim?" Her words were like a sledgehammer to my chest. The pain was sharp, a direct hit to my pride. I clenched my jaw, trying to hold on to my composure. Just then, Chloe came out of our room and quickly stepped between us. "Mom, how can you say that? He didn't cheat on me. It was a setup. Please don't fall for it." Her mother glared at Chloe, her expression one of pure disappointment. "Chloe, why are you defending him? I'm your mother. Would I ever hurt you? Leo has been good to you since you were kids. You two are meant to be. He came back for you. Don't be a fool." Chloe's eyes turned red. "Mom, Daniel and I have been together for years. I know what kind of man he is. I'm not divorcing him. I trust him, and our relationship is stronger than anyone's lies." Her mother's face flushed a deep crimson. She pointed a trembling finger at me. "You ungrateful brat. Chloe, he's brainwashed you. I never wanted you two together. A poor kid from nowhere is not good enough for you. And now he pulls this stunt, and you still protect him. You'll live to regret this." I thought she might leave, but instead, she huffed and declared, "I'm staying for dinner. I'm going to set this punk straight." She then turned to me, her voice dripping with command. "What are you standing there for? Go make dinner." Swallowing the bitter tide of anger and humiliation, I walked heavily into the kitchen. Chloe followed, her face etched with worry, and offered to help. I shook my head, motioning for her to go back out before she made her mother even angrier. I moved like a robot, washing, chopping, and cooking, each motion weighed down by a crushing sense of despair. I soon had a few dishes ready and brought them to the table. My mother-in-law eyed the food, her brow furrowed in distaste. "Is this all you made? It looks disgusting. I can't imagine the slop Chloe has had to eat all these years with you." "Mom, please stop," Chloe said. "He worked hard on this." Her mother was unmoved. She took a bite, chewed for a second, then spat it out dramatically. "What is this garbage?" She continued to eat and insult me with every bite. "Look at you. You're not handsome like Leo. You have no talent. You get played for a fool at work, and my daughter has to clean up your messes. And now you're running around with other women. If you have any sense, you'll take some money and sign the divorce papers. Stop dragging my daughter down." My hands balled into fists, my nails digging into my palms. Anger and helplessness churned inside me. But I knew I couldn't lose my temper. Seeing the relentless assault, hearing the venomous words pour from her own mother's mouth, Chloe finally snapped. With a loud crack, she slammed her chopsticks on the table. Her eyes were blazing, her chest heaving with rage. "Mom," she yelled, "just because Leo Carter saved me once, does that mean I have to sell my soul to him? Yes, I loved him, but when I begged him to stay, when I cried until I had no tears left, he still walked away without a second glance. The moment he turned his back on me, we were finished." Her mother, momentarily stunned by the outburst, opened her mouth to argue. But Chloe didn't give her the chance. "And look at him now. He's been at the company for weeks. Has he closed a single important deal? No. All he does is hang around me, trying to get my attention. The work he does could be handled by a fresh college grad. His so-called talent is a joke." "I don't care," her mother retorted, her voice rising. "I trust Leo. I've known him his whole life. He went abroad to build a better future for you. How can you be so ungrateful?" Chloe stared at her mother in disbelief, astounded by her stubborn refusal to see the truth. She took a breath, her voice trembling but firm. "Mom, I'm not that naive 18-year-old anymore. I know who is good to me. When I was at my lowest, the one who stood by me, who supported and encouraged me, was Daniel. We've been through everything together. I've chosen him. As long as he doesn't let go of my hand, I will never let go of his. Her mother's lips trembled, ready for another rebuttal. Chloe cut her off, her eyes flashing with resolve. Mom, I respect you as my mother, but what you've done tonight, humiliating my husband in his own home, is unforgivable. I want you to go home and think about what I've said. If you keep pushing this, I swear I will stop playing nice. Her mother's face went pale, her hands shaking with rage. She shot us both a venomous glare, then scraped her chair back and stood up abruptly. She stormed to the door, paused for one last hateful look, and slammed it behind her. The thunderous sound echoed in the silence. Chloe's body trembled, still coursing with adrenaline. She sank back in her chair, covered her face with her hands, and began to sob. My heart broke for her. I knelt beside her and pulled her into my arms. It's okay, honey. Don't cry. I can't believe she'd be like that. She wept into my shoulder. How could she not trust me? After all these years, doesn't she know me at all? I held her tight, stroking her back. I know it hurts, but don't make yourself sick over it. Our love has survived so much already. We won't let this break us. We'll show her how happy we are. We'll make her see. She looked up, her tear-streaked face full of reliance and conviction. With you by my side, I'm not afraid of anything. We'll face whatever comes together. One day, she'll have to understand. I gently wiped her tears away. We will. Now stop crying. Give me a smile. That's what I love to see. She managed a small, watery smile. It was still tinged with sadness, but it held a glimmer of hope for our future and all the love in the world for me. But the peace didn't last. The next scheme began when Chloe had to go to San Francisco for a business trip. Leo slyly let it slip to other employees that he would be going with her. Chloe was heading out for 2 days to finalize a major partnership. After Leo's announcement, the office rumor mill went into overdrive. Did you hear? Leo and Ms. Vance are both going to San Francisco. They're already so close. Who knows what a business trip could lead to? Right, they're always together at the office. I bet they make it official on this trip. The gossip was driving me crazy. I hated that I was swamped with work and couldn't go with her. That night, my phone buzzed. A message from Leo. My stomach dropped. I opened it to find a single, glaring photo. In it, Chloe was lying in Leo's arms, the two of them locked in a passionate kiss. For a moment, my mind went completely blank. The blood froze in my veins and my fingers started to shake. Then came the text. See, Daniel, Chloe isn't as loyal as you think. A little persuasion, and she fell right back into my arms. Do yourself a favor and let her go. Rage, pain, and confusion swirled inside me. I gripped the phone, my knuckles turning white. But I quickly forced myself to take a breath and think. I remembered the last time I was framed, how Chloe had stood by me without a single doubt. Her trust was a beacon. How could I question her now? I looked closer at the photo. The more I stared, the more I saw the flaws. Chloe's expression was stiff, her eyes vacant, nothing like the vibrant woman I knew. The lighting was harsh, the angle was strange. It was a fake. Relief washed over me. I immediately took a screenshot of the photo and Leo's message, sent it to Chloe, and called her. She picked up after a few rings, her voice tired. Honey, it's late. Is everything okay? I kept my voice steady. Chloe, Leo just sent me something. You should have a screenshot by now. It's a photo of you and him. He's claiming you're with him. There was a dead silence on the other end of the line. Then, her voice exploded with disbelief and fury. What? That shameless, despicable bastard. He actually stooped to something this low? I had no idea he was even in San Francisco. That man has no bottom. He's disgusting. Take it easy, Chloe, I said softly. You just try a new tactic. The whole office already thinks you two went on this trip together. The rumors have been flying all day. She snorted with disgust. So, when framing you didn't work, he decided to frame me instead to drive a wedge between us. I've had it. The moment I get back, he's fired. I'm with you, Chloe, I said firmly. We'll handle it together when you get home. I trust you too, Daniel, she said, her tone resolute. This whole thing has made me realize we can't be passive anymore. When I get back, we're telling everyone about our marriage. The company is stable, and between our shares, we have controlling interest. Let's see what tricks he can pull then. After we hung up, I sat on the couch, my mind racing. I was furious at Leo, but Chloe's unwavering trust had solidified my resolve. We would face this and whatever else came, together. 2 days later, Chloe returned. The office was quiet, but the tension was thick. Leo also came back, that same smug, malicious smirk on his face. I was at my desk trying to catch up on work when Leo swaggered over. He leaned in, lowering his voice conspiratorially. Daniel, Chloe and I shared a room on the trip. The company budget is tight, so we just made do. It really brought us closer. He watched me, his eyes gleaming with satisfaction. A hot rage flared inside me. My hands clenched into fists. Leo, I growled through gritted teeth, shut your damn mouth. He just grinned. Oh, did I hit a nerve? It's the truth. Stop lying to yourself. Maybe she's already over you. God knows she's had it rough with you. That was it. I couldn't take it anymore. I shot up from my chair and swung, putting all my strength into a punch that connected squarely with his jaw. Leo cried out, stumbling back before collapsing dramatically to the floor. He writhed and moaned, clutching his face. Ow, why did you hit me? I was just telling you the truth. He continued his performance, groaning loudly. It's my fault. I shouldn't have said anything to upset you. But you can't just attack people. Just then, Chloe appeared, walking briskly toward us. Seeing her, Leo's pained expression froze for a second. He stopped moaning and tried to scramble to his feet, mumbling, I'm fine, I'm fine. What is going on here? Chloe demanded. Leo was the first to speak, his voice laced with false sincerity. It's nothing, really. Daniel and I had a disagreement about work, and he just lost his temper. It's my fault I was too blunt. He looked at her with wide, wounded eyes. I was about to let him have it, but Chloe held up a hand. Daniel, wait. She then turned her cold gaze on Leo. All right, if Daniel hit you, you must have said something to deserve it. Get up and go to the conference room. We have a few things to discuss. When we entered the main conference room, the company's major shareholders and senior managers were already seated. The air was thick with anticipation. Chloe took my arm, her touch warm and steadying, and we walked to the front of the room together. She stood tall, her gaze sweeping over the crowd. After a brief cough to clear her throat, her voice rang out, clear and strong. I've called this meeting to clarify 2 things. First, the rumor that Leo Carter and I are dating is false. We are old acquaintances, and that is all. A murmur rippled through the room as people exchanged surprised glances. Wow, I totally thought they were a couple. Me too. They always seemed so close. Leo's face went pale. Chloe ignored the chatter and continued. Second, I would like to formally announce that Daniel Hayes and I are married. This news dropped like a bomb. The room erupted in gasps and shocked whispers. What? They're married? I never would have guessed. Seriously, mister. Hayes is so low-key. Who knew? Leo's face twisted with jealousy and disbelief. He shot to his feet. Chloe, you love me. I go away for a few years, and you just move on. I want abroad to build a future for us. How could you do this to me? Chloe looked at him with undisguised impatience. Leo, I'll admit it. Because you saved me as a kid, I had a crush on you. But that ended the day you abandoned me. You gave up on me first. How dare you think you can just waltzing back into my life whenever you please? Leo's face crumpled into a mask of self-pity. Chloe, I know I was wrong. I thought if I came back with more to offer, I could give you a better life. I didn't know you'd change. Enough, Leo, she cut him off. Stop the act. At first, for my mom's sake, and out of respect for our past, I let you slide. But you have done nothing but cause trouble. You want to play dirty? Fine. I'm done being nice. She paused, her eyes locked on him. I did some digging. You didn't study abroad. You partied until you ran out of money and had to come crawling back. You forged your degree, played on my mother's sympathies, and conned your way into my company. You've done nothing but stir up trouble. In that data breach a few weeks ago, I found out an external hacker used your computer as a backdoor to get into our system and corrupt the data. Leo's face was ashen. Chloe, I swear I didn't know. I was a victim too. Whether you knew or not is irrelevant, she said dismissively. The breach came through your machine. The responsibility is yours. The crowd began to murmur again, their expressions shifting from surprise to disappointment. I stepped forward, and this time he went even further. He faked a photo to make it look like my wife was cheating on him and spread a lie that they only had one hotel room on her business trip. Leo desperately tried to defend himself. I did it because I love her. Her mother doesn't even like you. I was just trying to save her from making a mistake. I laughed coldly. You call these disgusting tactics love? And I'm willing to bet you were behind the time I was framed with those other women. The methods were identical. Leo's eyes darted around. That was me, he admitted, still trying to justify it. But I was just looking out for Chloe. I was afraid you were cheating on her. Chloe let out a sharp, humorless laugh and projected the security footage from the incidents onto the main screen, followed by bank statements. Still lying, Leo. Here's the footage of you paying off those two women. Here are the financial records. It's all here, proving Daniel's innocence. Do you have anything else to say? Staring at the undeniable proof, Leo looked like he'd swallowed poison. He opened and closed his mouth, but no words came out. The room fell silent. Every eye in the room now boring into him with contempt. After a moment of tense silence, Leo finally snapped. He kicked a chair, sending it screeching across the floor. His eyes were wide and bloodshot, his face a mask of pure rage. Chloe, he screamed, his voice raw. Fine, I did it. So what? You owe me an explanation. What's so great about this guy? I've known you my entire life. How am I not good enough for you? What does he have that I don't? Chloe looked at the unhinged man before her with utter disgust. You have a nerve to ask me that, she said, her voice dripping with ice. I loved you with everything I had. I put you on a pedestal. And how did you repay me? When I needed you most, you left without a word. For years, not a single phone call. Did you ever, for 1 second, think about how I felt? I did it for us, he yelled back, his face turning purple. I went through hell over there so I could give you a better life. He's just an opportunist who swooped in with a bunch of sweet talk while I was gone. Chloe took a deep, steadying breath. In the darkest period of my life, Daniel was the one who was there. He understood my pain, and he saw my strength. He showed me what real love is by standing by me and helping me put my life back together. Why would I love you, a selfish, heartless coward, when I have him? The only thing you ever gave me was pain. That's all you've ever been good for. Leo's eyes darted around frantically. I'm back now. I can make it up to you, Chloe. I love you more than he ever could. Just give me another chance. She laughed bitterly. Make it up to me. Do you seriously think a simple apology can erase years of hurt and all the despicable things you've done since you came back? Daniel and I built this life, this company, together. You wanted to come and enjoy the shade from the tree we planted, and for my mother's sake, I would have let you. But instead, you tried to chop down the man who planted it just so you could steal his spot. Have you no conscience? Leo stood there, speechless, his face a mottled red and white. One of the shareholders finally spoke up, his voice stern. Mr. Carter, your actions have been a disgrace to this company. You have undermined your colleagues and intentionally created chaos. You have violated every rule of professional conduct. I can't believe he's such a terrible person, someone whispered. Hearing the condemnation from all sides, Leo's face twisted into a grotesque smile, and he began to laugh, a wild, unhinged sound. Ha, you're all against me. Fine. What can you do? Chloe, you think you can get rid of me? Daniel, this isn't over. Chloe had reached her limit. You're insane, she shouted. You're fired, effective immediately. Get out of my company. We have no place for someone as morally bankrupt and twisted as you. Amidst a sea of scornful glares, Leo stumbled out of the conference room like a beaten dog, slamming the door behind him with a final, violent bang. After Leo was kicked out, life at the company seemingly returned to normal, but a sense of unease lingered. The venom in his eyes as he left was a promise of unfinished business. We both felt it. A storm was still brewing. A few days later, Chloe had to work late to tie up some loose ends. Honey, she said, rubbing her temples, I've still got a few things to finish up here. Why don't you head home and get dinner started? We can have a nice meal once I'm done. I nodded, gave her a quick hug, and told her not to overdo it. The drive home was calm. The setting sun cast a warm glow through the windshield, and the city noise began to fade, slowly easing the tension in my shoulders. But the peace was short-lived. Out of nowhere, a black sedan shot out from a side street, slamming violently into the side of my car. The impact sent my vehicle spinning. My head slammed against the steering wheel, and a sharp pain exploded behind my eyes. Dazed, I stumbled out of the car to assess the damage. A pungent, chemical smell hit me, and before I could react, a heavy hand clamped a cloth over my mouth and nose. I fought back, kicking and thrashing, but my attacker's grip was like iron. The chloroform worked quickly. My struggles weakened, my vision blurred, and the world dissolved into blackness as I was dragged away. When I came to, I was in a dark, decrepit warehouse. The air was thick with the stench of mold and decay. Faint light filtered through a few grimy windows, illuminating a space filled with junk and shadows. The main door was shut tight. There was no obvious way out. A chilling laugh echoed from the darkness. Leo stepped out of the shadows, his eyes gleaming with a mad, obsessive light. "Daniel, you're finally awake," he sneered, his smile twisted. "I may be ruined, my reputation destroyed, but it will all be worth it. Once I use you to squeeze a nice big check out of Chloe, I'll be on a plane out of here, and this will all have been worth it." I fought down my fear. "Leo, it's not too late to stop this. Don't throw your whole life away. Turn back." He let out a maniacal laugh that bounced off the damp walls. "There's no turning back. That bitch Chloe. She used to be my little lapdog, and now she dares to love a loser like you. I will not allow it." His eyes burned with a jealous hatred that seemed to swallow him whole. He pulled a gleaming knife from his pocket and began to toy with it. I knew I had to stall for time. "Leo, is this really worth it? Destroying your life for a moment of revenge?" Just as he lunged, the warehouse doors burst open. A team of police officers swarmed in, tackling Leo and pinning him to the ground before he could react. He stared in disbelief, utterly shocked that his carefully chosen hiding spot had been found so quickly. Behind the officers, Chloe rushed in, her face pale with terror. When she saw I was safe, tears streamed down her cheeks. She ran to me, throwing her arms around me and holding on as if she'd never let go. "Oh, thank God you're okay," she sobbed. She turned to where the police were handcuffing Leo, her eyes glinting with cold fury. "Leo, want to know how I found you so fast?" He looked up, a flicker of confusion in his eyes. Chloe smiled, a sharp, triumphant smile. "My husband and I are on the same wavelength. It's only natural I'd find him." As the police dragged a cursing and struggling Leo away, Chloe's strength finally gave out. She sagged against me, shaking with relief. "Honey," she whispered, her voice choked with tears. "Thank God we replaced the cufflinks on our shirts with those micro-trackers. I don't know how long it would have taken to find you otherwise." I held her close, stroking her back. "It's over, Chloe. It's all over. I'm okay. We're never going to be apart again." After his arrest, the police investigation uncovered the full extent of Leo's crimes. Not only had he orchestrated the kidnapping and extortion plot, but he was also wanted for a hit and run in a stolen car that had resulted in a fatality. Faced with a mountain of charges, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. When Chloe's mother heard the news, it was as if all the life drained out of her. She seemed to age 10 years overnight. She sat on her sofa, staring into space for a long time. Finally, she waved a dismissive hand, her voice trembling. "I'm old. I should be enjoying my life. From now on, I won't interfere in your affairs." Having weathered the storm, Chloe and I emerged with a bond that was stronger than ever. We cherished each other and the simple, peaceful life we had fought so hard to protect. Years passed. Our company thrived, becoming a leader in the industry. And our family grew with the arrival of our beautiful daughter. On a sunny weekend, the three of us drove out to the countryside. Our daughter, dressed in a bright sundress, ran through a field of wildflowers, her laughter echoing in the fresh air. Chloe and I walked hand in hand, a gentle breeze carrying the scent of blossoms. I stopped and looked at her, my heart full. "Chloe," I said softly, "thank you for giving me this perfect life." She smiled, leaning her head on my shoulder. "Honey, we're going to be this happy forever. We'll watch our daughter grow up, and we'll walk through every season of our lives together." We smiled at each other and held each other close, our hearts filled with hope for the future. Surrounded by the peaceful beauty of the countryside, our laughter mingled with our daughters, painting a perfect picture of a life filled with love, warmth, and sunlight.